So, Mark, did you see that video of Chris Martin from Coldplay singing karaoke downtown at Dino's? He sounded amazing. He was in this weird disguise, looked like he was having a great time.
Yeah, I love when stuff like this happens, and we've talked about people singing on the streets, famous people, and this happens, randomly over in other cities too. But it's always fun. Like this is something they could do kind of all the time, and it really kind of uplifts everybody, gives everybody a memory. I wish we would see more of it. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool. He's a man of the people.
You know what we learned from this, though, more important than anything,
What?
is that when they don't have their stylists and makeup and people picking out their clothes, they look like Chuck from Indiana, just like everybody else.
So it's the day that we've all been waiting for all this time. The connector between Bally's, or Horseshoe, I guess, and Paris, the Versailles Tower, is now complete. And we got to walk through, take a look at it. It looks nice. They spent some money on it, made it look nice in the inside. It's more of a walk than you would imagine because you kind of got to go parallel to the building before you cross the street. But it's all connected now.
I love how you use the right name, Bally's, there to start it off. That's great. No, I mean, we've been waiting for this for a while. It is weird. And I know probably the way they had to connect it, that you have to make several turns to just walk across the street, essentially. But it's good to see it open. It should have been open a long time ago. I don't know what took so long, but this make it so much better if you're staying over there. You can get there a little bit quicker and cut through instead of having to do all the other crap.
Is it quicker? I don't know. Is it quicker? I mean, they're already connected on the inside, on the back.
We need moving walkways in there that won't work after 6 months. That will completely finalize everything.
Yeah, I don't know if it's quicker. I guess to get to the pool, obviously they needed to connect that tower, but it's probably just as quick to walk through the existing connection between the properties. But it looks good. Like I said, we saw the new connector over in City Center and how MGM did that. Very nice and beautiful. This doesn't quite give the same vibes, but it's high end. It feels Paris. Caesars didn't cut back on this. And the last thing we have is that exterior to finish. It's almost done. And then Versailles will be officially part of Paris completely, and Horseshoe will be down 500 rooms. I don't know.
Yeah, I think, they can charge a little bit more, like we've said. It's looking good. Everybody loves the balcony rooms. I think that's going to be kind of over the next year, it's going to be one that everybody wants to try out a bit. So it's almost like they opened up a new hotel, even though they didn't. Everybody wants to get in there. It's been there forever, but the refresh definitely brings a new light to it.
So there's a bit of trouble in Raiders land. They lost their home opener, and their head coach threw some shade, I guess, in an interview, basically saying that there was individuals on the team making business decisions. A lot of people thinking he's talking about Davante Adams, the star wide receiver. Maybe they should just send Davante Adams back to the Packers.
Yeah, I was going to ask you. I mean, you would know better than anybody. Is he a locker room guy, not a great locker room guy, or is he good? I don't remember ever hearing anything about it when he was there, but I know you had stronger leadership in the locker room in Green Bay than Oakland probably does. But yeah, and this is kind of funny because when we talked about the Circa thing where everybody was throwing in their $1,000, the survivor pool, I was like, oh, just pick against the Panthers every week. You'll probably be okay. And you're supposed to beat the Panthers. They're terrible.
Yeah, it's not been a good start for the Raiders. So maybe this season we're already losing hope in that Super Bowl. Not that we were going to make the Super Bowl, but Davante Adams, I mean, he had Aaron Rodgers throwing to them. He did really well in Green Bay, came here, and it's been sort of disappointing. So I could sort of see that. But, it's good stuff. I mean, we have a football team, Mark. What else do we want? We wanted a football team. We got one, and all the drama that comes with it.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that the ginger Andy Dalton's still out there playing. I didn't know he was still on a team, and he came out and beat the Raiders. Crazy.
So let's look back in time a little bit to 1988 in the Las Vegas Strip. And this video that was shared by Vintage Las Vegas, I believe, is just amazing. It's a helicopter flyover of the entire strip, also Fremont Street. This is before the canopy on Fremont Street. You got that beautiful Fitzgerald sign on there. And then, of course, the strip, you see how different the South Strip was. You didn't have all these mega resorts. You have all the gas stations, the motels, all the casinos from yesteryear. This is one of the favorite vintage videos I've seen in a while.
Yeah, it's really good quality too for the time frame. Usually it's blurry or shaky or anything, and they got pretty good quality. I'm sure they digitized it or fixed it up any way they could, but it looks really great. And it just goes to show, we've been talking about how the north end of the strip is kind of coming back to life with Resorts World and everything. And as you see this video, the beginning parts of the strip where everybody thinks is Main Strip now was kind of vacant, like you said. And you get to that area and it was just booming. That's where all the cluster was, and everybody went. And Fremont Street's always been kind of Fremont Street, so you get to see that, which is cool. But it just goes to show what's old is new again, coming up with everything opening up that way.
The scale of today's properties really is evident here when you see this. For example, we always talk about how Wynn was built on the site of the old Desert Inn, but when you fly over it, you can see just how small the Desert Inn was and how much more the wind takes up other plots of land that they consolidated, all of that stuff. And that's really been the measure here. Mirage is under construction. You have the Wet and Wild water park. This is the Vegas I grew up in. This is great to see.
Yeah, Mirage. Just looking at Mirage, like how much bigger it looks than everything. Like Flamingo's kind of on that same scale, but most everything else you go by on the way up there just looks, small. And that's kind of the contrast that you see. And I don't know, it feels a little more quaint. I don't hate it.
It was more quaint. You get the good with the bad, but it definitely was a more intimate sort of vibe.
Yeah, for sure. And then you see greenery behind the buildings, off the strip, which you don't see anymore. It's not what you would expect.
Another day, another Sphere story, but we have to talk about this because the Eagles debuted at the Sphere in Hotel California. They did the visuals for that. Of course, all of their famous songs. It's funny. Every time a band comes to the Sphere, I don't see any bad reviews. I don't know that I've seen a ton of bad. I mean, Bono, his voice wasn't the best, but as far as the presentation, every band that's gone in there, people are just leaving in awe.
Yeah, and I think part of that, I mean, there's probably some people that have gone to all the shows, but a lot of people, this is probably their first time going into the Sphere because they're a fan of that band, so they're going there to see it. I think this is the one I would have most liked to go to. Just the music, and they sounded great. The visuals look cool, especially Hotel California. Going through the hotel with them as they sing the song is pretty epic, and I think it came off really well. And I hope they have a successful run and they add some more shows. Seems like that is likely.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to see that. Eagles classic. I agree with you. I think out of all the bands, this would be certainly the one. But anyway, I mean, I guess you say you don't want to talk about the Sphere all that much. You said this on the after show last week, so I guess we won't talk about this anymore. But, when there's these big events, we have to discuss them.
No, I just, it seems like every week, but they're good for them that they're, backing things up on top of each other. The U2 movie's out. UFC was there. Now the concert's live. Hopefully they're doing something with the videoing this. So they're doing a similar thing with U2 that you can go and watch the video experience afterwards with the holograms and all that, everything they pulled off. I think that would be cool.
What's also cool is if you could buy tables from the Mirage. Our friend Dave sent this over to me from this Facebook group. Guys selling tables. I don't know if he bought them in bulk or how it goes, but $1,250 to $2,000 ish, and he still has some available. I wish I had some space for one of these.
Yeah, I don't know if basements are a thing in Las Vegas or not, but if you have a basement, this is like the perfect man cave addition type of thing. Even if you just like turn it into like a bar type of setup versus, or if you want to have friends over, it'd be weird for poker a little bit, but you can make it work. Stuff like that of casino. Maybe we need some illegal casinos popping up in Vegas, Sean. Let's have it at your house.
Funny thing is most houses here don't have basements, but there are the occasional house that does. Unfortunately, mine doesn't. I really was tempted to like look into this, and then I remembered that my wife wouldn't be too happy with me bringing it home, but I think having like a blackjack table from Mirage or even the poker tables, which were a little bit more basic, I think there's probably people watching this show that are going to try to convince their spouse to let them buy one.
Yeah, I think it'd be awesome. I mean, even if you just have like a pop-up shed in your backyard or something and turned it into, a gambling den or a hangout den. I think this is pretty awesome. They look like they're in really good shape. Probably cleaned them up and everything before they listed them. But everything looked really high quality still.
The big question is how much did they pay for them from the Mirage? Probably half of that, right?
Oh, hey, if you can make money, make money.
As a reminder, we have our Patreon. $5 a month gets you access to our weekly after show. So much fun recording that show every single week. Great community over there. Patreon.com/MTM Vegas for all the information. And thanks to everybody who supports us over there. So it's the marriage made in heaven, Mark. You've been waiting for this. Your beloved Oyo is growing, and they're growing in a big way. The Oyo, the Indian-based company that has 350 properties in the U.S. We've talked all about the 2 Oyos in Las Vegas. They're buying Motel 6. Perfect match.
Based on what we've seen at the other property in Vegas, maybe Motel 6 is a step up for them. I don't know, but definitely gives them a bigger footprint all of a sudden. And I had said, I don't really see Oyos around me. I haven't really seen them on the driving around or anything like that, but I definitely see Motel 6s. So it'll be interesting to see, but I'm guessing they'll keep that brand. It's been around forever. The name has some value there. So I'm guessing they'll just be running them, but not change anything about it.
Blackstone owned Motel 6 for quite a while. And it's interesting because Blackstone is so mixed up in Las Vegas with the casino land ownerships and all of that stuff. But Motel 6 sold. What's interesting is right next to Oyo, or 2 doors down, is what I believe is still the largest Motel 6 in the world. But unfortunately, there's another property in between them. But then they could just merge it all together and make some giant motel monstrosity.
What everybody wants. I remember last time I stayed in a Motel 6 many, many years ago. I had to go down to the front desk and give them my ID to get an iron and a board to to get ready for work. So yeah, don't stay there.
Good times indeed. So over to Planet Hollywood and the Miracle Mile shops, and the internet was abuzz this week. Everybody was so worried that Ocean One, that famous spot for cheap eats and drinks, had closed. In fact, there was an eviction notice put on the door there that they hadn't paid their rent for months or whatever. They got locked out of the restaurant, but it only took a few hours. I guess they got a loan or they paid their rent somehow, and they returned and they're open now so everybody can have their budget friendly food.
I mean, I used to work in a service to the restaurant industry. I don't find that this is super strange because they try to push whatever bills they can push out several months until you threaten. We had to threaten to cut off service, and then they would come up with the money. So I would imagine similar type of thing here, where they had the money or they were earmarking it for something else, and they're like, okay, well, we can't run a business without having our doors open, so let's get it paid.
I think there are a couple other locations of this. So I wonder, because that one is always packed. I mean, just packed. There's always people in there. Obviously, their margins have to be thinner. Their rent is probably high where they're at. But anyway, glad to see that they're back and it wasn't this big sort of sudden closure, even though Planet Hollywood, or I guess Miracle Mile Shops, which is not Planet Hollywood, flexing their muscles a little bit and putting this out there. You would think that like a phone call being like, we're going to shut you down right now and pay the bill, but there's more going on behind the scenes. That's my guess.
Yeah, and the worry is that this, like, they just got enough to get by for now or to get it up and running. Are they going to make it another couple months type of thing? So that's definitely, this is one of the places people love to go before they start their night or whatever, get a couple drinks, get some cheap eats. So hopefully it stays going. And like you said, it's always busy. So is there mismanagement going on there? Hopefully it was just kind of somebody forgot to do something and it's not a big deal.
Maybe 6 months ago or so, we talked about pachinko machines at the Hoover Dam Lodge. This is owned by Dottie's and how they have them out there. And recently, one of our viewers, Rick, sent me pictures of how it works there. And apparently he said they didn't have the whole setup for pachinko. They didn't have, where you could buy the balls, turn the balls in, all this other stuff. Instead, they just have the balls kind of sitting out for people to play for free. So they didn't set up the whole casino aspect of the pachinko, but you can go there and play them. And he sent us pictures and said he had a lot of fun and it was great going out there and experiencing it.
Yeah, kind of weird that they would invest in the machines and everything and not get it up and running, that they can make money off of it. Maybe they just don't think it's going to be popular enough to sink some more costs in there. But it's still kind of cool that you get to play for free. Go grab your drink or whatever. Go over there for a little bit, hang out, see how it works. And then if you go to a parlor that is full functioning, you'll have a better idea of what to do. So, I mean, I'd still take the time to check it out and play for a bit.
Yeah, it's cool that we have it. It's something different. That property is a little bit unique, and you can go out to Lake Mead at the same time. It's right next to there. And glad to see these pachinko. And thanks to Rick for sending that to us. And thanks to everybody who sends us stuff. We should take a second to say that, Mark, because we get so much stuff from people, emails, tagging us on social media. We appreciate all of it.
Yeah, thanks to everybody. And thanks to James who sends us stuff, who's not the James in Las Vegas. He's a different James in Las Vegas, but we appreciate all the Jameses out there.
And everybody else. But let's head downtown for the F1 event, the Neon City Festival. This is their way to combat F1 and get people downtown during the big race. It's sort of spearheaded by Derek Stevens and the Circa folks, but everybody downtown is participating. And we talked previously how it's going to go all the way from the Arts District to Fremont East, all over downtown. And the one thing they didn't announce at first was the headliners. And now we know who they are. Alice in Wonderland, Macklemore, Neon Trees, Russell Dickerson, Seven Lions, and more with an exclamation point.
I don't think they're going to need all that space. Just guessing.
Hey, it was last minute.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, Macklemore, he's famous for talking about R. Kelly's sheets. Maybe he'll come out with a new song about Puff Daddy's baby oil by then. I don't know. Maybe we'll kick things up a notch.
I don't know, but it's going to be great. It's going to be great. They didn't get the biggest names. We can admit that, but it's a free festival and there's going to be a lot more than that. There's going to be activations all over the city and a lot to do. So it's not going to be just about the bands. In fact, if I go down there, it's not going to be for the bands. So I'm not as worried about that, but those are the headliners. This is happening. F1's going to be a success this year, Mark.
I don't know about that. I don't think it'll be as busy as last year, at least like around the race. I think Vegas as a whole might be busier because people kind of know more what to expect now. And if they don't want to go to the race, I think they'll still come and realize how they can get around it. Or maybe they'll be drawn to this festival a bit. And I make jokes about it, but I'm happy to see them trying something different to bring people down there. I know they were hurting on Fremont Street last year, so any little bit will help. So kudos to Derek Stevens for putting this on. But does it do what they're hoping it does? Yeah, I think a lot of people will go down there just to see the setup and interesting the first time, see how it goes, all that type of stuff.
It would have helped to have a big headliner. I would say that it would have helped them, but hopefully it all goes well. On the last show, we showed that Cybertruck light show on the strip. And did you know that the Vegas Loop actually has one Cybertruck? I did not know that, but there's this article talking about the future of the Vegas Loop and going to the airport and how they envision Cybertrucks to be the vehicles to take you there. I love how the authorities that be, they're just like going to a Tesla showroom and shopping the different models to figure out how our mass transit works.
Yeah, I wonder how that would work. Like, do you have to wait a little bit longer for a Cybertruck to come in if you're going to the airport? How does that work in theory? In practice and all of that stuff. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But hey, cram as many things as you can in there to get people to where they want to go quickly. I don't care if it's a Tesla Cybertruck or like a Honda Civic. Like, let's get it going and get people moving.
Cybertrucks are very big on the inside, so they have plenty of seating. I mean, still going to seat 5 people. And then they could use the truck bed for luggage, is what they said. Again, I just think it's so funny, instead of developing your own vehicles, how you're just using off-the-shelf technology, but that's what we're doing here. The other thing they talked about in this article was these quote-unquote shoe boxes. And this is going to be the way that vehicles turn around within the loop system. And the way it's described is almost as like a traffic circle, but they're squares. So you have to turn onto them. So there's these big square tunnels where you can turn in different directions. And I guess the system's going to have several of those. So if people are wondering how you're going to move between tunnels in different directions and connect to different parts of the system, you're going to use these shoe boxes. This doesn't seem the most efficient way if you have to stop and make a left turn.
Yeah, you'd think it'd just go to like a platform that spins and turns the car around and then you go again.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. But Cybertruck's coming to Vegas. Maybe they'll do light shows while they're down there driving in the tunnel. You have the light show in the tunnel and then the light show on the Tesla itself. Life is good, Mark. Life is good.
Yeah, great.
Except for the fact that our NBA arena is canceled. What's going on here? There was a lot of chatter on social media. Give credit to Las Vegas Locally and Vital Vegas, because they broke this story before the Review Journal picked it up. But Oakview Group, that's the company that has said they were going to build that $10 billion casino project south of the Strip near the Brightline station. It was going to include an NBA arena and a casino and a bunch of other stuff. Well, now I guess the rumors are that they're having a hard time agreeing to the price on the land. I thought they had already secured the land, but maybe it was just a contract on the land. Whatever that is, this company is now looking elsewhere, potentially. Again, this isn't confirmed. And the Rio is popping back up as a potential site.
Yeah, I had thought that this was kind of a done deal for the land too, so I'm surprised that would be the holdup. I'm not surprised that it's kind of falling through, because we've seen this time and time again when people are trying to build stadiums in Vegas or anywhere. Really, it's such a massive project. But yeah, Rio, that's where I still want the A's to end up. I think that makes the most sense. It'd be good for Rio. It'd be good to get it a bit off the Strip. It's not too far away. You can get there quickly. Just easier access all around. So I think it would be a great spot for an NBA arena too, even though you don't need one because you have T-Mobile. And I wish they would just do that. But hey, if we're going to build it, I think that's a great spot.
If they build it at Rio, you could get your High Line, though, over the freeway, which is what you've been dreaming.
There we go. Yeah, perfect.
Exactly.
Put a Tesla on the High Line, and then we got Teslas everywhere.
It sounds perfectly Vegas to me. So as a reminder, the NBA stuff, the NBA was waiting to do their collective bargaining agreements and their TV contracts before they announced expansion. They did finish that earlier this year. So expansion is supposed to be announced probably within the next year, maybe even by the end of this year. And there's a couple of cities, but Seattle, Las Vegas, probably front running. But we have to mention LVXP. That's the project on the former AllNet Arena site. We talked about how they have the same architects as the Intuit Dome and all the cool stuff there. Is this the project that's more favored now, would you say, to get built? The one at the AllNet Arena site?
I don't know. I mean, it all comes down to the financing and who has the better track record and history and all of that. So you'd have to really dig into those details. I mean, AllNet's been trying to be built there for 20 years. So it's bad omen, I feel like, on that site. So we'll have to see, but they definitely have a leg up that they have a secured option where the other people are now left scrambling, trying to figure out where to go. So maybe they have a leg up. It's just weird that two people are trying to build the same thing at the same time. Like, wouldn't the city come in and say, hey, one of you, here you go, we're going to give it to you. Let's go. Let's build this thing.
2 projects. What about 3 projects? Because Dana White said something last week that kind of shocked everybody, saying that there's another arena project that he was briefed on that the UFC might be involved in. I'm not going to take any real weight to this, but maybe there's another group out there looking at another piece of land. Maybe we should announce the MTM Vegas arena.
Yeah, I mean, if you compare it with UFC, I think it's a great idea. I mean, their headquarters are there and they could fill your stadium when you don't have games going on. If you're an NBA arena, I think it'd be a great option. So I think it makes sense to pair up, but it just seems like, yeah, more smoke and mirrors.
I do think the LVXP site, the All Net Arena site, that's probably the best site we have. It's probably better than Rio, although Rio would be good. I think either site is better than the other site south of the Strip. Even for locals, though, that other site would have been better. But for tourists and sort of the whole spectacle of it, this site further north is better. But let us know what you guys think about anything we talked about today. The NBA arena, where would you like to see it built? Are we going to get an NBA team? Cybertrucks down in the tunnels, 1988 Las Vegas. Coldplay, doing karaoke, all of that good stuff. Leave a comment. We do 2 shows a week, Tuesdays and Fridays, and we'll be back in a couple days with another show. Thanks so much for watching. Talk to you next time.
Have a good week, everybody. Hey, if you can make money, make money.
As a reminder, we have our Patreon. $5 a month gives you access. If you can make money, make money. And then I go right into Patreon. That's great.
Hit it, Sean.
Who's Chuck from Indiana? I don't get it.
It's just a random guy. Just like the everybody, Chuck.
Okay, Chuck.